what you're gonna say. I can't believe what you're alluding to, Max. Let it out. Let it out. What are you trying to say?
He is going. This is my hot take. You just calm down. He is a great fighter. A good big man doesn't beat a great little man. It takes something more than a good big man to do that, and Lopez is more than just good.
Punches are not made, they are born. And this guy, Lopez, was born to punch. And he's got one other thing going for him, Steven and Max. He reminds me of Pacquiao, Lopez, in a way, not just with power in either hand, but his closing step, his ability to explode. You know, kind of like an athlete in football, basketball, any of those sports where it's not about running a 40, it's about the quickness. It's about the closing step, the burst. He's got that burst. Not everybody's got that.
Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman clash over Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez, debating skill, power, and resume.
January 31st, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez. I always say it, when boxing gets it right, no other sport comes close. And this is boxing getting it right. The best fighting the best. Both fighters believe that this matchup settles the argument about who leads the new era. So what do we think of the Styles matchup, guys? This is a high-speed chess match a la Sugar Ray Leonard or Pernell Whitaker, Leonard and Benitez, or yes. Pernell Whitaker, Buddy McGirt. Or is it a Jerry versus Jerry?
Stephen A. Smith praised Teofimo Lopez's quick defense, highlighting his fast reflexes and ability to slip punches in tight exchanges.
Be sure to show the world that at 23 years of age, I'm a champion, and you're going to have to come take this from me. I'm not giving you a damn thing. I loved his quickness. We know about Lopez's power, but I'm talking about his quickness defensively. But I saw Lopez being elusive, and I love that because it's one thing for you to have the power and the quickness to go along with the power offensively. A lot of guys can look good until they get hit. There were times where he got hit, and there were other times where he was
He consistently points to Teofimo Lopez's history of rising to the occasion on the biggest stages. Smith emphasizes that Lopez is not intimidated by elite competition, citing his dominant win over Vasyl Lomachenko.
I know that Lomachenko's footwork is exceptional. It's practically unrivaled. So you could see what he's done to numerous fighters, which contributed to them quitting, like Nicholas Walters and others. He tried that with Lopez. It didn't work. Lopez's footwork worked. His speed was there. Some power, obviously. But his elusivity is what impressed me most. The fact that he was able to slip a number, not all, but a number of those pitches.
He wouldn't let Lomachenko establish his outside foot.
And I loved it.
Yeah, for me, coming into this fight, obviously I always talk to Max about fighting. I love it. I was thinking, and Lopez mentioned it pre-fight, everybody thought it was going to be very Mayweather-Canelo when they fought, and that he would be outclassed. If you look at the first 6 rounds, it was about patience. He was patient. He didn't rush himself. He used his jab, which is something that we aren't used to seeing.
Teddy Atlas joined Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman, arguing that Teofimo Lopez's biggest challenge is facing the best pound-for-pound fighter. Atlas stressed Shakur Stevenson's elite fundamentals, saying Teofimo's athleticism alone won't be enough against a technician of that level.
Challenge lies ahead for Lopez this upcoming weekend.
What challenge? The challenge of fighting for me, my estimation, the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Either him or Crawford. You choose it, it doesn't matter. You could flip-flop either one of them. They're the 2 top guys. The challenge is to get his bomb to the target. Yeah, like Customano, my mentor, used to say, Teddy, having power is great. But if you don't have a means to get it to the target, it has no value. It's like a military weapon, he used to say. If you don't have a missile, it just blows up and makes a big hole in the ground. So that's the challenge. Get it to the target. Get it to the chin or the body. It might be a good idea with a guy who moves his head so much, but get it to the target with Lomachenko. So keep yourself together mentally. With all that going on, with all the chaos stuff coming at you, and don't get discouraged, don't get frustrated if he's hard.
Kellerman repeatedly emphasizes that Stevenson doesn't merely win fights. He neutralizes opponents. His footwork, distance control, and anticipation allow him to dictate the pace of every bout.
Shakur's one of those guys who comes along, and I think this is really the question about him. I said he is one of those guys. Is he one of those guys? Like Purnell, like Roy, like Floyd, their defenses were so good, and they boxed in a way where they weren't going to take unnecessary risks. They weren't running and holding. You know, I had a problem with the second half of the Haney-Norman fight because I felt like they continue to box. Purnell did, Roy did, and Shakur does now, right? But when a guy has those advantages in boxing skill and speed, and they don't take risks, they are almost impossible to beat. So no matter who Purnell was fighting, no matter who Roy was fighting, if someone would have asked me who they're going to be, they're fighting Godzilla, Purnell. They're fighting Roy. Shakur has that look to me, and the style.
He acknowledged that both fighters are highly skilled, but emphasized that Shakur Stevenson is not a puncher. He argued that Shakur wins through precision, defense, and control rather than knockout power.
The difference here is that they're both twitchy, they're both fast, they're both excellent boxers. Teo's a puncher. I know it hasn't shown up in recent fights, but we have watched both of their careers. Shakur is not a puncher.
No.
Teo is.
Teo it can be an explosive, I hit you with a shot and you don't see, and you are out cold type puncher.
And talking about power, strength too. I think Teo's going to be the much stronger guy in there. Shakur Stevenson's not a strong guy.
I think he's getting stronger.
Me too.
Yeah,
I was about to say.
Definitely
But this is his first fight at 140 though. That's what I'm saying. I'm not disrespecting
I
his
feel
strength.
like, but I also feel like that Shakur might surprise you, Mike, with his physical strength. Physical strength, as we all know, doesn't always translate to punching power.
Sure, of course not.
But when he was a younger fighter, he looked like he could be moved around by his opponent. It doesn't look like that anymore.
No, he's definitely matured into his body. But first fight at 140, Teo's what? I think this is maybe his fifth fight at 140?
Yeah.
Something like that?
That's true, but Shakur has a frame where he can put on 140.
Max Kellerman points out that Shakur enters a fight with more to lose because of his technical reputation and undefeated image. Teofimo, on the other hand, has more to gain as an underdog where pressure is low and opportunity is higher, making the fight dangerous and unpredictable.
There's an advantage there where Shakur is fighting to protect that perfect record, to protect that kind of sense that he's the next guy. On the other hand, Teo is like he can fight with more abandon against Shakur because there's so much for him to gain. And if he loses, he's lost before.
Stevenson has openly discussed how significant this contest is to him, framing it as a chance to prove as among the very best pound-for-pound fighters in the sport.
I think the fight with Teo is either going to be you delivering a masterclass,
or a knockout by Teo.
Yeah, or you getting into some type of brawl with Teo and end up getting knocked out, right? What are fans getting wrong about the matchup?
I think the fans is getting wrong about the matchup is where I'm not sleeping on that I know about Teo. Teo's a good boxer. He's boxer first. So we could say, oh, he's just going to knock you out. Or he's just going to... That's not him. He's boxing first. He's going to want to establish distance and range on the outside and try to beat me up on the outside. So I think that's the main thing. And also the biggest thing that everybody don't realize with me, I could punch. Everybody say, oh, he can't punch, and then boom, crack somebody, and then they laying down, or something may happen to where they hurt or something like that. So I think that's too.
Many experts see Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez as a fascinating tactical puzzle where strategy, energy, and timing could decide the outcome.
I don't think that Shakur is going to come out and try to fight or take the fight to Teo in the first 6 rounds at all. So if he's fighting off the back foot, if Teo can make it so that he's convincingly, or he's convinced at least Shakur that he may have won 4 of the first 6 rounds, you know, if it's 4-2 in Shakur's mind going into the second half of the fight, or if I'm looking at him stealing those first 6 rounds, then it's an interesting fight going into the tail end, because Teo, to me, is a front runner, right? I want to see if he can carry his energy and his explosiveness late in the fight and not wear down. And then when Shakur starts to open up, you know, can you steal some of those championship rounds from him and make it like a close fight? I think if Teo comes out and does what he usually does, which is try to swarm Shakur early and keep Shakur on the defensive early, then he can try to steal a lot of those early rounds. And if he does...
Lopez is often described as a fighter who starts fast and relies on mid-range explosiveness, sharp counters, and bursts of pressure early in fights. If he can't sustain that intensity for all 12 rounds, some analysts wonder whether his output might taper in the later championship rounds, opening the door for Stevenson to turn the tide.